This is Smithy.tv.
Hello, this is Abif Kanish, aka Kenny Robinson, coming to you from the Bunker Studios here at Smitty TV, and this is breaking down the news. Right now in America, they have their campaign. The campaign's beginning for electing their next president or figurehead of all the corporations, as some of my friends like to refer to it as. And Donald Trump had been in the lead. He was winning in all the polls, and of course, the polls are what matter until Donald's no longer in number one. He was replaced by Ben Carson. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Ben Carson, he is the black Republican candidate. Now, first of all, I always have a problem with anybody that is a black Republican. Why? Because I believe that the Democratic Party has always been so good to the Negro of America, or at least since 1965. No, but since 1965, the Republicans have represented a certain segment of society. So when I hear black Republican, I'm thinking that's like a Jewish Nazi. I just don't see how the two go hand in hand. And Ben is he's leading in the polls now, or he had been leading in the polls. He was until people start to read his book. Now, for those of you that may not be familiar with, he wrote a book a few years ago, and he started telling incredible stories. But that's the difference between stories. Sometimes stories are biographies, sometimes stories are fables, and sometimes fables are just downright lies. And right now, Ben is having his feet, which he shouldn't have any problem to because his feet are in the boots that he pulled up from the straps. He's having his boots held to the fire. A couple of things that Ben has stated. He stated that he had stabbed a classmate over an argument over a radio when he was in high school, and the knife blade broke because it hit the kid's belt buckle. And that's when he knew that he had to control his anger and give his life to Jesus. First of all, I'm thinking, you know who really gave their life to Jesus? The kid wearing the belt buckle that got stabbed and the knife broke. After that, you got to go, oh, Lordy, I know you kept me for a purpose. But people are going, well, where is this guy that you supposedly stabbed? Why aren't any records of this? And Ben goes, well, you try finding somebody from 60 years ago. And then there is another story that a good one. He says he was offered a scholarship to West Point. And West Point goes, well, A, we don't have any record of Ben ever applying. And B, we don't give scholarships. We are the official academy of the U.S. Army. This is not a United Negro College Fund school. Blue Rawls never did a benefit for us. There are no scholarships, and we have no history of Ben ever applying. So once again, his credibility's chipped away a little bit. Now, here's the beautiful thing about Ben. Okay, he says never has any other politician, any other presidential candidate ever been this closely examined. They've never asked anybody else any other questions. And I'm thinking, well, maybe how about the black guy whose gig you're trying to take? Huh? What about Obama? They've been questioning where was he born? Then they still don't want to accept that. Donald Trump was one of the beginners of the whole birther thing. I don't believe he was born in America. From a man whose hair was not born in America. And then it went from, is Obama born in America, to is he a Muslim? Has he adopted his father's religion? The father that I think he met maybe twice. Okay, so they're saying, well, what about when his mother took them to Indonesia? He learned Islamic things there. Yes, but he also grew up in Hawaii, but I haven't seen the brother surf yet. Have you? No. They forget also he was adopted by Ma and Pa Kettle from Iowa. Not adopted, but it was his Caucasian grandparents that raised him. So he should have a lot better golf game than he does. And then they were so upset with what church that Obama went to when he was a member of Reverend Wright's church. And some people can say he's a firebrand minister, and others can say he's a militant. Such great quotes from him is "God damn you, America," and that really doesn't go down the throat of people that are so busy. God bless you, America. But hey, coming from Reverend Wright's position, God damn probably fits in a little bit better, and he's a man of the cloth. So they questioned him, but, well, did you know this man was a racist? Did you know this man was anti-American? Did you know this man sometimes ate his his entree with his salad fork, and Obama had to throw the good Reverend Wright underneath the bus and no longer attend that church. So then they still want to say, well, he's a Muslim. Well, you guys wouldn't let him be a Baptist anymore. You chased him out of there. So then what? Oh, then what else? Then there was a time when why is Michelle and Barack? Why are they doing the terrorist handshake? Remember one time Barack was silly enough to do the fist baps with Michelle, and Fox News had to say it was a terrorist handshake. And I'm going, obviously, they weren't watching the Oakland A's back in the days of the Bash Brothers, because there are all kinds of secret club handshakes going on then with forearms and baps and everything else. Anytime McGuire and Jose, the two steroid twins of Homer. So, no, Ben, you're not the first guy that's ever been questioned closely or having your story examined. But then even without the lies to sink, Ben, there's other things we have to bring up, okay? Last week you stated that the pyramids, which is a very sensitive topic for black people because we like to say it's an example of the day when blacks were kings, and why is it that they have not been able to figure out how the pyramid's been made with all the computers and technology? The white man has not been able to figure out how the slaves built those pyramids, and then we always have other white folks saying, don't you know, they were put there by aliens. That's right. They'd rather have us believe that another life form from another planet came down rather than believe that a bunch of Egyptians in the desert just kept stacking those rocks up until it was a very cool looking point. He said the reason for the pyramids were not as a temple or a burial spot to the gods, but to store grain. Grain. You know, hey buddy, go to Saskatchewan, go to Manitoba. And tell them, you guys been building your grain elevators the wrong way. All this, why can't you guys get down with the pyramid scheme? So there is that, and let's see, where else has he fallen kind of short with some of his stories recently? Oh, he said that Obamacare is a kinship to slavery. Now, is connecting something to slavery, is that the same thing as like when people connect everything to Hitler? You know, he's the new Hitler. This is the new slavery. Do you know what real slavery is? When you're uninsured and your wife has cancer and you have to sell your fucking house so you can get her treatment, hoping to save her life, hoping that, you know, you can prolong her living or her suffering in more cases than not when it comes to that terrible disease. And then you're having to sell your property and you're in debt, and then you are working for the next 20 years to pay off those medical bills. Now, to me, that sounds more like slavery than anything else. So, anyway, Ben Carson, in fact, my day started early with an argument. I put some memes up about Ben Carson and some Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Where's his article written? I think it's in the New York Times. They usually are the ones that publish him. But Kareem said that one of the worst things could ever happen for black people in America would be for Ben Carson to be elected president. And one of my Facebook friends that live in Winnipeg, he posted that these were just the words of a Muslim. And it's like, well, as if those words don't count. But I didn't have time to argue with him and explain to him, so is the Arabic number system that you use. So until you start writing all your checks out in Roman numerals, you should really chill with that shit. But there's some great things with Ben here, okay? Anyway, Jabbar, I'll tell you what newspaper is written in. Let's see, where is it here? Okay. NBC. Oh, is it an interview? But he's a columnist. He writes a lot of things. So anyway, Kareem went off to say that the worst thing that could happen to Black America is Ben Carson. And people that support Ben Carson, they try to find any reason. They say that that he's a Muslim or that he's a good Christian. And the bottom line is, members of the black community, we have worse things to say about Ben Carson. Some people are calling him a buffoon. Others are accusing him of coonery. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the term coonery, I suggest you go to your urban slang dictionary and you look the phrase up. And the angriest of us all, they refer to him as an Uncle Tom. So anyway, before I get out of here, here's something that I found on Facebook. And of course, Ben Carson didn't say this, but he should. He goes, I come up with some crazy batshit lies, and immediately white, dumb, conservative, religious Republicans start to send me money. Just this weekend, I received $3.5 million. Expect new lies in the coming days. So I think that's hilarious. And of course, I'll be fighting with people later on there. But when it comes to batshit crazy, the Republicans, you got it nailed down. You are no longer the grand old party, but you are the batshit crazy party. And that's it enough for now. I think I've spewed and ranted enough. I'm Kenny Robinson. This is Breaking Down the News. We are here at Smitty TV. Stick around. I've got more babbling to do.